So, what do you do as a country if your federal government's in complete chaos? Because that's where we're at. That's where we're at in Canada right now. No, I know a lot of people will say, well, no, I don't know, Ron. I mean, the government's still running, checks are still going out, everything seems fine. But let's count it down. We have a whole new bunch of cabinet ministers who never were on the job before because somehow for the last number of years, no one thought they were good enough to be cabinet ministers. In fact, some of them, one of them actually was very, very critical of Trudeau and really had actually said that he wasn't going to run, but he's now a cabinet minister. It's a long list of odd occurrences and strange goings on and people with no experience at the cabinet portfolios that they've suddenly been given. So that in itself isn't the end of the world. But what also happened on Friday is the leader of the New Democratic Party, Jagmeet Singh, sent a letter to the Governor General stating that he would not support Justin Trudeau, that he would insist that he leave the government. And if he is still the prime minister, when the House of Parliament resumes in the new year, that on the first available date of a non-confidence motion, which looks like maybe first week of February, on the first available date, if Justin Trudeau is still the prime minister, he will vote the government down through non-confidence. So that's the NDP, the Conservative Party, and the Bloc Québécois are all in agreement that the government must go if Justin Trudeau is the prime minister. So that's in writing now. That's a letters, and as well on Friday, Pierre Poilievre called on the Governor General to bring Parliament back because the existing government is engaged in false dealings to preserve their existence, when in fact it has been announced that all other parties of the House will vote against them in a non-confidence motion, and the government will come down. That the prime minister is simply trying to run away and hide, when in fact he knows it's dead government walking. So that sounds like chaos to me. I don't know. Let's layer in on January 20th, Donald Trump will be the former and now new president of the United States with a proposition to impose devastating tariffs of 25% on Canadian goods coming into the United States. And who knows what else. So we're faced with a prime minister who's effectively trying to hide because he knows that if he returns to the House, that the next possible date for non-confidence motion, their government will fall. Like, this isn't just people yammering. They've put it in writing. It's published now. And we're faced with these critical ongoing negotiations with the United States with a government that would appear should not exist because in the House of Commons, they have no confidence from the House. So I know this bores a lot of people. I know there's a lot of people out there saying, oh my God, this politics is just so awful. It's so confusing. It's so stupid. I don't even know what this fat guy's talking about. That's fine. I get it. It's very frustrating. It seems very dense. But in reality, it's simple. The prime minister has to go. It's that simple. I know there's some supporters out there. There's about 14 or 15% of Canadians believe that the prime minister is doing a good job and should stay. There's a bunch of Canadians who don't like elections, can't blame you, and say, well, okay, just let him stay. But remember, that's about 14 or 15% of Canadians think the prime minister is doing a good job. About 65% of Canadians think the prime minister needs to go. That's a big number. And this isn't like a US president that has a set election every 4 years. The elections in Canada have to do with whether the government can survive. And this government, under this prime minister, cannot survive a confidence vote in the House of Commons. So, what it leads to is confusion, it leads to uncertainty, it leads to questions about, well, why are you bringing forth proposals when you're going to be gone? It brings out the worst tendencies in someone like President Trump, who's saying, hey, this guy doesn't really exist anymore. Let's just ride this thing as far as we can because there's no effective government in Ottawa these days. Don't even blame him. If you feel that the prime minister in Ottawa needs to leave because the next prime minister might be more reasonable and might be a more capable person to deal with, or you just plain don't like Justin, like Donald Trump pretty clearly just doesn't like Justin, or he wouldn't troll him with this governor of the state of Canada thing. Um, it's pretty obvious. So, look, difficult time in Canada. There is a resolution. Resign, hold a leadership convention for the Liberal Party in a brief period of time, 60 days, find a new leader, and call an election. Never in my time, I can't remember. I'm 67. I've followed Canadian politics my whole life. I have never known a time, really never known a time, the country more desperately needs an election to create a mandate for a new leader before it's this important, this timely, and this necessary. So, Prime Minister, please resign now, not a week from now, not sometime in January. Resign now. Face the inevitable and resign. And let's find a new leader and let's have an election. But let's do it now.